Number 4, please.
Number 5.
Number 5.
Don't bring us back.
We did better than that.
Don't take away progress. The next department recommendation is to add permanent resident or owner residing within 100 feet to the definition of interested party per the campus ordinance and the mayoral ordinance. So what this depends on how you take the private right of action, but if you don't expand private right of action to any interested party, this would allow someone living within 100 feet of the unit to take action after the city has found that there's a violation. So it is bringing those that are directly affected to the short-term rental, the impact on their neighborhood, into the definition of an interested party.
Just clarify the difference between this and the last one is that this requires the city to have found a violation first. Right?
Well, the distinction is we're just amending the definition. So you have to be cognizant that if you amend the definition for what an interested party is and then you expand private action to interested parties, then you are also expanding private right of action to everyone within 100 feet of the property. Clear as mud?
Clear as mud.
If Deputy City Attorney Marlena Byrne again, if I could offer a little more explanation in addition to what Mr. Starr just said. The current law and all of these ordinances include one private right of action, which is allowed for any interested party after the administrative process has been exhausted and the director has determined that a violation has occurred. So under both current law and all of these ordinances, that private right of action remains in place, that if you exhaust the administrative process, the director finds a violation, then any interested party can sue based on that violation. What each of these ordinances before you now does is adds a second private right of action. In the case of the Kim and Breed ordinance, it adds two additional private rights of action, which all kick in prior to the director determining a violation has occurred. So basically, these are kind of like jump the line private right of actions. You don't have to exhaust the city's process, and you don't have to wait for the director to determine that a violation has occurred. So that's what the difference is between these.
Commissioner Antonini.
So it's an interested party within 100 feet, or is there a definition on the interested
What
party?
you do is you would amend the definition for interested party to include any resident within 100 feet of the subject unit.
Under state law, we can only offer a private right of action to enforce our municipal codes to parties that actually have received some kind of harm from the violation that's occurred. So we have to limit it to this definition of interested parties, which exists under the current code. Under the current law, if I could find the definition of interested party, the current code provides a definition of interested party which includes the permanent residents of the building, any homeowners association associated with that building, the owner of the residential unit, and a nonprofit organization which has housing nonprofit issues as its primary motive. So those are the interested parties that exist right now. Under the various pieces of legislation, those get tweaked a little bit. Under Supervisor Farrell's legislation, he adds permanent residents in buildings within 100 feet of the unit. Under Supervisor Campos's legislation, he also adds that, but he deletes the owner of the unit. And then I'm not sure if there's a change to the interested party in Kim's and Breed's legislation. I don't believe there is.
So. Yeah.
Well, I think owner should be included. I'm not sure I like this, but if you're going to have all those other groups in there, including somebody who lives next door, I'm not exactly sure how it would cause harm.
Just to clarify, that owner question, whether the owner should be removed from interested party, will come up in a separate recommendation.
There's a separate, so we don't do that this time.
No,
we
you don't have to worry about
we
this
do
one.
this. No. So this is the one that doesn't have the owner in it.
Correct.
It does. It's permanent resident or owner. Recommendation 5.
Right.
Or owner.
There's another recommendation. Supervisor Campos is proposing to take out owner from the definition of interested party, and we're not dealing with that question right now. That's what I was trying to say.
So owner is in this one
Yes.
still.
Commissioner Moore.
Mr. Starr, could you give a little bit more explanation why the mayor, Supervisor Farrell, and Supervisor Campos wanted to ask the duplication of what is already there? Is this for extra emphasis, for speedier action, for more effectiveness in moving forward? City Attorney Marla Burns explained the first portion, which is already there, and you added a second layer as something which sounds a little bit, it's the same thing, except it happens a little bit earlier. I'm simplifying this here. It's getting late.
So a resident within 100 feet of the property is not in the definition of interested party right now.
So that is the main new thing.
Yes. That's this particular
Specifically to
recommendation.
add residents within 100 feet.
Okay.
Which isn't included today.
Thank you.
Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. And since we're all parsing the details, I'm going to add one more. So 100 feet, if you live in like a large apartment building that has 30 floors and you live on the 30th floor and someone lives on the second floor, you don't live within 100 feet.
I think that we would interpret this as 100 feet from the
And
property.
it's a separate,
property.
that's a separate type of interested party that's already included in the code, and that none of these ordinances recommend deleting. The code already includes as an interested party any permanent resident of the building in which
great.
the tourist or transient use occurs. So even if you had a 200, unit building and it had 10 or 20 stories, it doesn't matter how many feet you are as long as you're in the building. This is an addition to that, and it actually is slightly worded slightly differently than the way the planning staff memo has worded it. It's actually a permanent resident or owner of a property within 100 feet. That's what's proposed to be added. So it could be an owner of a property within 100 feet, but that owner lives in New York. Mm-hmm. They don't have to live within 100 feet.
Yes.
And that language is found in Supervisor Farrell's legislation. And
Commissioner Antonini.
Yeah, again, I have misgivings about this. I've seen instances where, and this is only our actions, it's not giving them the power to, have a private right of action. We're often discussing things like mandatory DRs on mergers, and everybody in the whole neighborhood comes up in support, the staff's in support, and there'll be one person who will come up and will object because they don't like the idea of the merger. But it really, in this instance, we're giving that one person the ability to also institute legal action. And I mean, I'm not saying that would always be the case, but there is that possibility. So that's why I'm opposed to it.
Commissioners, shall I call the question on recommendation number 5?
Yes, please.
Okay, on recommendation number 5 to add permanent resident owner residing within 100 feet, Commissioner Antonini.
Oh, wait, this is adding the owner? I mean, I'm getting confused. I thought this is adding the owner.
We're adding permanent resident or owner residing with 100 feet to the definition of an interested party.
Okay, because interested party is there already, and we're
Yes.
just adding the owner, but then it could be.
Interested party is a defined term in Section 41A. So whenever they refer to interested party in Section 41A, they will mean a permanent resident or owner residing with 100 feet, in
Okay, so
addition
this is
to
the owner.
other.
Then later on, we come up with Campos's one where he's trying to take the owner out.
Exactly.
Okay, that might change my position on that then.
On this recommendation number 5, Commissioner Antonini.
Aye.
Commissioner Hillis.
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson.
Aye.
Commissioner Moore.
Right.
Commissioner Wu.
Aye.
And Commission President Fong.
Aye.
So moved. This recommendation will move forward 6-0.